Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Closers, where we interview a top performing BDM in the property management space and learn how they are growing their business. I am your host, Drea Hessman. Today we have Brent Skrupski joining us from Real Property Management Professionals out of Canada. He has been with RPM Professionals for about 4.5, 5 months now, and he has hit his goals every month, which is so exciting. 6 in his first 3 weeks on the job, and then 14 in his first full month. Added 14 doors in his first month of selling, you guys. And quote I have from Carla herself is that he is a breath of fresh air, always willing to learn, and a true team member. So Brett, welcome.
Thank you, Drea. Pleasure to be here.
How is everything going on your end? What are you guys dealing with today in the property management space? Tell me a little bit about how business is going.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely, with being able to have the good fortune of closing 14 doors in my first full month and going through the summer months that way, it definitely stayed hot, and a lot of folks were looking for property management. So not to say that that made the job that much easier, but it certainly helps when you have a lot of folks who are looking for your services to be able to offer that to them. As with so many spaces as well, not just here in Canada, but in the US, all over. As we get into the last quarter of the year, there's not quite as much business, and as the calendars kind of flipped from September to October, things have slowed a little bit, but still remains in a positive way. We had a really big housing boom over the summer, and even earlier than that here through Canada, and probably same kind of thing was felt throughout the US as well. And so right now we're seeing a lot of the aftermath in the way of that, where we don't have as many places up for sale, but a lot of folks are turning to rental as a result. And so we see a lot of inventory on the market. And so it's definitely from the property manager side of things, and finding those really fantastic best fitting tenants, it's a little bit more challenging to get yourself in that competitive space. And from business development side, though, it's really quite handy, because we do still have a lot of folks who are looking for property management for their rentals. And so there's never a lack of opportunities. It's just being able to find those spaces when the inbound calls start to potentially dry up or start to quiet down, where you can go and find some of those really great opportunities that still exist.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about maybe what you're doing as far as outbound goes, and maybe a few hints on what the lead sources you're using right now?
Yeah, for sure. So right from the start, as I stepped into the role, as you said right off the top, only 4.5, 5 months. So really quite new. And that's not just in my role here, but it's in the entire property management industry. So a really big change for myself. And so being able to come in as a complete unknown, I didn't bring with a lot of relationships with me, or existing partnerships or colleagues that I'd be able to draw upon. And so really getting out and presenting myself, networking, especially with realtors. Realtors are certainly one of the major source of leads that I've got. We have new investors who are looking at spaces, and I work alongside those investors with the realtors here on the ground to kind of form a little team, if you will, to look at potential listings and offer them what potential rental amounts could be, and really to help them meet their goal as an investor, especially when they're first looking to buy. But yeah, working with the realtors directly, and just really within the business community itself, getting myself out and getting my name known, and furthering the RPM Professionals brand within the city here, and being able to connect with the people and in the places where the investors find themselves. So that's really, really important, and something that's been growing. I had a lot of inbound leads, certainly, as we discussed earlier, through the summer. And so it's been nice that I haven't had to rely quite as heavily on that network where you have to type things where if you're not doing it, you're not seeing anything coming in. But now that's starting to slow. And so we have a little bit more of a balance of things. And so it's really still important as we get into these winter months now to be able to connect and network. Additional lead sources, we've got a lot of word of mouth, and it's not just from the Google reviews that we have, but existing owners that we have. I've talked to, even just today, I had a friend of one of our existing owners is just closing on their property and is wanting to immediately come work with us because they've got such phenomenal reviews from their friend. And so it's really helpful that way to be able to not only expand because people have just heard good reviews, but that they have existing owners in place that yeah, you got to come work with RPM professionals. They'll take care of you. And it really helps kind of make that a warm connection instead of, some kind of a cold call out. You still have to be able to communicate the value. And that's what I do, certainly. But they're certainly more prone to wanting to work with us as a result.
I had the honor, many don't know, I had the honor of secret shopping Brett when we went through that on our BDMs through our Scale Club. And he did a fantastic job. One of the things that we teach is making sure that you are reaching out to you are bringing on the right clients. And Brett was stumping me left and right, trying to make sure that I was the right client for him. And I just did not have the answers. I mean, it was everything I could do to keep Brett on the phone and want to have me as his client. So he did a fantastic job. Now, Brett, how did you come to Real Property Management Professionals? I mean, I know we helped in the hiring process, but what were you doing prior to?
Yeah, actually, so classically, I guess you'll say I've been trained as in the finance realm, but I spent more than a decade as an accountant, and so that was a lot of people kind of look at me, and if they know me, I think one of the biggest compliments I've ever received is, Brett, you really don't have the personality of an accountant. So I personally, I took that as one of the biggest bonuses and pluses to do that, and so I've always was good with math, so I just did that, and family business as well. So that was very easy to fall into. After that, though, I moved out to try to find more about what I was passionate about, and actually spent time. I'm certified as a coach, as a life coach, and that is a huge component for me. It's the first time I ever felt really connected in a way where people talk about, I just love what I do and I have a passion for what I do. And that was the first time I ever felt that way. And it was, to me, it was bringing value to people. Be able to connect and be a source or conduit, a means of someone discovering and bringing value into their life. And it moved forward. I moved into briefly a realm in business development and fundraising previous to this position, and really enjoyed it. But then when I had the opportunity, it was a few things, certainly to keep in the business development realm, as I really was fitting into that pocket. One of my absolute best friends that I've known for almost 30 years, and start showing my age here, but he actually works here at RPM in the maintenance. He's the maintenance coordinator, and so he let me know about this position, and I thought, oh, okay, well, this is a really cool idea, and still in the business development realm. Well, lo and behold, I start the interviewing process, and one of the first things, you talk about having rent scale, having a coach, and being able to work directly. I have such phenomenal respect, such a passion for coaching in all of its capacities, to know that I could work in this realm of business development, help add value to owners and investors by offering them services that I already believed in. I contemplated being a landlord myself at one point, and so I knew about property management, the value that it added. But then to be able to work with an amazing company like RentScale, I of course did my research when I started into the process, and finding out more, I thought, okay, this is a position that I have to be in. I need to be a part of this, and to have that ongoing development side of it alongside learning and growing within the industry, it just was a natural and really fantastic fit for me.
That's so awesome. I love it. I love just kind of hearing the backstory and just learning it for myself, because right now I know a big challenge in the industry is trying to find the right people to do a business development job, right? And so speaking of Scale Club and that community, Brett, is there any special tips or tricks that you've learned throughout there so far that you'd like to share with anybody else?
I can attribute a lot, if not the majority, of my success. I'll play it off as modest, sure, but I know people will potentially say otherwise. But just in learning and being within a community of really like-minded folks, to have the power and working with Kristen directly as my coach, and being able to work with yourself, work with Jeremy, and be able to have such fonts of knowledge and experience to be able to draw from. My fellow BDMs that I get to meet with, this whole platform with Scale Club and RentScale has been incredibly helpful. I was learning and growing on my own, and you're asking questions and exploring a new position in a new industry, but being able to be surrounded by people who are in the exact same position with the knowledge, with the experience, with the drive and passion. It's just incredibly stimulating, and you learn something every single day when you're connecting with these folks. So it's been unbelievable to be a part of.
You know, I'll be honest, I'm sitting here listening to you, Brett, and like, you're getting me excited. Like, you can just tell that you love your job, and I love it. Something that I always tell people when it comes to the Scale Club community is you can look at it as a mastermind group. And the nice thing is I know I've said it before, is it's with non-competing markets that's in the small group that you meet with. And yeah, it's an opportunity to bounce ideas off of and best practices, and just have that community on a regular basis to provide accountability, competition, motivation. And so, yeah, I love that you had that to say about the Scale Club community. That's so awesome. There any challenges that you may be facing right now, Brett, that you're noticing in the sales today?
I'd say for myself personally, it's just continuing to grow and hone my craft, if you will, and just become better with that, to be able to, you can never anticipate every single situation or difficulty, challenge that you run into. And so it's kind of folly to think you can prepare for every single thing or prevent these things from happening, but just to continue to grow my knowledge base and my experience within the field. Again, not even being, half a year in the position, I'm only going to continue to learn and absorb and grow more to be able to do that. But certainly with the challenges, I mean, as we talked about here, the seasonal changes and making sure that it's great when all the leads are coming in and you don't have to really do any work to attract them and do that. And so it's learning the ebb and flow of the industry and knowing that that's it's not necessarily a failure on my part for not doing something, but knowing that you've got to employ different methods and different ways to connect and integrate yourself within the business here and within the community in order to help things to grow, so that you don't become stagnant and you don't fall flat or fall short or become irrelevant in any way. And so always staying front of mind and present for those owners and investors to find you.
Absolutely. And something that Jeremy preaches to us on almost a daily basis: what you do today is going to fill your pipeline 30 days from now. And so just being patient, being consistent, doing that work to make sure that your pipeline is filling, in that 30-day period, because it could be 30 to 60 days before you actually close that deal. But if you only do a certain amount today, and then 30 days later you do nothing, those deals are going to close and you have nothing after that. So providing that consistency, working with the seasonality when it comes to it, putting more effort here versus there, and making sure that you're going to continue to be successful in the end. That is so great on the foresight side. The other thing I was going to ask you, Brett, is there any last recommendations that you may have for any ambitious property management BDMs that you'd like to share with us too?
I mean, like I said, you learn what you do and how your value really can benefit your owners and prospective owners. Being able to communicate and be authentic, be genuine. You can't fake enthusiasm. It's tough. You're going to come off as disingenuous. And so, if it's something that you are really passionate about, let that show. And if you're not passionate about it, then find what your best fit is. You're right now looking for what your best fit for the company, bringing in, whether it be property, tenant, whatever it happens to be. Fit is so crucial, and it's crucial for yourself and your position as well. It doesn't mean that you would be bad at it, but being able to really assess yourself and finding out if this is the right role or the right way to be connecting with folks. And so when you're ambitious, you want to grow, I mean, learning your industry, learning your position, learning the rules and regulations, but being your authentic self, because that's, if we want to talk about what you're selling, you're selling a trust, you're selling that first connection and that first hello and that first handshake with your company to a prospective owner. And so if they have a lack of trust because you come off as inauthentic or disingenuous in some some way, that's going to make it very difficult for you to build any kind of relationship. So be you, and let that be the best way for you to approach and connect with people.
That's perfect. That is so awesome, Brent. And I'm going to throw one out there. You may have to think about it for a second, but I feel like you've read a lot of books. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I've read a few.
Okay. Are there any books that you would recommend to anybody within your position by chance?
You know what? One of the most powerful books that I've read, it's not specifically about development or anything like that, but it's like in personal development would be more. I really love The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It was such an eye-opening exploration of how habits work within us, and it's honestly, it works with your habits, how you do day-to-day work, and how you're able to function within life, and how you operate. And it was so insightful, because anything that can bring about better self-awareness, if we want to talk about being yourself and being you, if you don't know who you is, that's pretty tough. And so being able to understand yourself, and then also how other people work, is really so powerful. So for myself, that would be one of the biggest recommendations that I would have for anybody that's looking to explore why you do something is really, really powerful.
I love it. If you don't know who you is, that's going to be pretty difficult. That's going to be Brett's quote that I take from this.
Some spot on English there, right?
Brett, you have been an absolute joy. Thank you all for joining us for Coffee with Closers. There is a reason that we bring these heavy hitters on here, so that way you guys can learn from them and hopefully take that into your whole being in all reality, and just go out there and make it happen and find out who you is. Find out who you is. Thank you, Brett, so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Trey. Take care.
Thank you. So just to recap everything that we just went over, Brett brought in 6 new doors in his first 3 weeks on the job, adding 14 doors in his first month selling. We did assist in the hiring process when it came to Brett for real property management professionals, but he has hit his goals every month for the last 4 to 5 months since he's been there. And it always helps to have inbound leads and bring on those doors. But as everyone knows, it is the season where things start to slow down and tactics need to change, and you need to make that adjustment. And seeing a lot of folks turning to the rental side of things now versus selling right now in his market. As he said, for business development, this is a golden ticket as investors are looking for people to manage their properties. But he didn't have a lot of existing relationships to draw off of in the first place. And so it is important, and it has been important for Brett to get out there and network with the real estate agents and the investors working alongside that real estate agent as a team, and within the business community, furthering the RPM professional brand and getting his name out there. Additional lead sources that they're using right now, word of mouth, not just from Google reviews, but also through existing owners who have friends looking for property management companies. That really helps make the sale a whole lot easier, as you all know. And the important thing is that there is value there. Brett came from an accounting role with a passion in business development with a certification as a life coach. You can tell that he really enjoys the business development realm, and he definitely wanted to stay in that space. And once he found out the RPM professionals provided rent scale with the coaching aspect, he was hooked. Having the ongoing development alongside the learning and growth in the industry, he said that he can definitely contribute a lot of his success in learning and being in a community of like-minded folks surrounded by the people who are in the exact same position is stimulating. And the challenges that we all face, whether it is a matter of continuing to grow, you can definitely hone in on your own craft, and you cannot prevent running into those challenges, but you can learn the tools to counteract them either before they hit or when they hit. So don't become stagnant, always stay present, allowing those owners to find you. Learn how your value can benefit your owners and prospective owners. Being authentic, let your passion show. You are selling a trust, that first connection with your company to a prospective owner, and be you. A book recommendation was The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Find out who you is. Thank you guys so much for joining us again for another episode of Coffee with Closers. Brett Skrupski joining us from Real Property Man, or yeah, oh dang it, I said it right. Okay, let me try again. I got your name right?
You did. You did, absolutely. Yep, no, you were good.
Okay.